people, and before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Post us to Facebook, tell everybody you know, because we're cooking again. Today I have my good friend Sarah. She's the Princess of Sweden. Very beautiful young lady. If you're interested, let me know. I can probably put a good word in for you. And behind the camera is a lovely yet fragrant Amy, which we're just about to celebrate our 13th wedding anniversary. You can tell because I'm walking with a limp because the ball chain's getting a little bit too heavy over the years. Love her to death, and in honor of this, I'm making Amy's favorite homemade pizza, barbecue chicken. Booyah, booyah, booyah. So what you have here is you have 5 cups of flour. You're going to take it out and you're going to dig a little hole so it looks like a little volcano. And I know this looks a little fun, and yes, it is fun. And you remember being young, right? Like my little nephew used to take his potatoes and he used to make a big volcano out of it, and I'm sure it could have been a little bit more creative, but it is what it is. Sorry, I'm a little, what do you want to say here? Bored myself, but my mother came over, so when I was in the middle of shooting, so we're starting over, but we only got this far, so we're really not too much into it right now. So, 5 cups of flour, we're going to take 5 eggs, and this is going to be the disgusting volcano that comes out. Just be careful not to have any shells, any part of the shells, so. And we're going to stick that in here, and this is really fun to do, believe it or not. But your hands are going to get really dirty, and not going to be the fun part. So Sarah, what do you think about barbecue chicken pizza?
Oh, I love it.
And when you're looking at what you're doing here, if you think about it this way, you can go to the store and you can buy pizza if you want, but sometimes it's more fun to, make it yourself. Amy and I love making this because it gives us a little something to do together, right? Because you have to have all your ingredients. You have to take the time and prep it. And when you're done, it's great. So you're just going to take your knife and you're just going to start making this. And yes, Amy's like, oh my goodness, I've got quite a mess to clean up here. Yes, Amy, you do. So didn't do it the exact way that I wanted it to, but we're just going to try to enthrall everything into our dough. The idea is to get everything nice and moist with the eggs, and it can be a pain. It's not exactly the most fun thing in the world to do, and I'm kind of newer at this myself, so I mean I've still got a lot to learn to do this, so by no means am I an expert, but that's half the fun, right? It's when you pick up a new ingredient, it's something new and different, a little bit more unique, right? It gives you a little bit of time to learn, and that's the fun with it, right? And that's what I love about making dough. I mean, because you make homemade pasta with us too. If you watched my last episode, it was a little on the longer side, and yeah, I do apologize because it was an hour long. This time I'm going to be cutting and editing this. So the video from the time I actually made this until the time you actually see it might be quite a bit of considerable amount of time to pass. So you're just going to take this and you're going to mold it, you're going to fold it, you're going to just mix it with your hands. Yes, your hands are going to get dirty, but at the same time you should touch your wife, you'll know what I mean. And I'm going to give you some relationship advice. This is for my good friend Sarah. Sarah, you should come over here and show the eligible guys what a real woman looks like. Amy, show her your viewers. This is Sarah. A very good friend of ours. We've known her for over 15, 16, maybe even 18 years. We've known her a long time. One of her really good friends. Love her to death. She's having a little bit of a trouble finding a real guy. A guy that, that's actually suited for her. I mean, she's met some really, really good guys, but it's not hers. Right? I mean, and that's just it. And, ladies and gentlemen, if you're single and you just want to pour some water on there to keep things moist a little bit if it's too dry, and it really is. So, I mean, you can start pouring a little bit of water every now and again. And this does get messy. It is what it is. And guys and ladies, here it is. You want to know how to find a girl? You want to know how to find a guy? You don't. It just happens. I mean, you want to make sure that you guys can get along with each other and be friends and not be and not just be a sexual thing, and that can be a part of it, I guess. That, you know, has to be a part of it. It is what it is, but you also have to be able to be friends and talk and be able to do things outside of that as well. You need to know what your goals are, what, you know, where you want to be. Things don't always work out perfect. God knows that's the truth with us. They're not. But you tend to have a better experience if you have more time invested. And sir, if you'll do me a favor and grab my water cup. Pour some water down here for me, please. That's good, thank you. I'm just going to keep on doing that. But if you take your time and pour some more water down there, quite a bit more. There we go. And you take your time and you actually meet the right woman, it will be so much more meaningful. It will be awesome. You always want to take your time, because if you rush, then it's a bad thing. Never rush a relationship. Never rush things. You don't want to keep people in the friend zone for too terribly long. But at the same time, if you don't, it's a little bit more rigorously. But if you don't take that time to have that friend zone, a little bit more. There we go. And if you don't take that time to be in the friend zone, you really don't know if that person is, you know, worth going further with. And I'm going to get some more here, please. But you have to have that, right? So that's a lot like mixing dough. You have to take time, because if you don't, it's going to be a big mess. And gosh knows this is a really big mess now. A little water right there for me, please. So I love having assistance. It makes my job a whole lot easier if I have somebody around to help me, so I don't have to, you know, do everything all myself this way. And normally I would have Amy, but, you know, Amy's got to be in the camera because it's not that much of a robot yet. So, you just got to bead on it, mold it. And we're almost done. And this is the fun about having homemade pizza, because if you're making everything. Now you could have added a little bit of sugar, you could have added a little bit of salt. There's a lot of different things you could do here, but you don't need to, right? So, and God knows there's people out there probably laughing at me because I'm not doing it the same way they do. But in the end, I promise you this will work out just fine. I probably should have put a little bit more flour on my hands. It is what it is. But I'm going to let you go for the moment. I'm going to get everything ready, and I'm going to start folding this down so I can actually get it into a pizza type of deal here. So I'll be back as soon as I get my hands all clean, and we'll start that from there. Welcome back. So this is a little bit of a messy thing, so I had to take a little bit of time to clean this up. So I'm just going to put a little fresh here, and I'm going to put some more fresh dough down here, or flour down here. And here's the thing, you always want to make sure that you have flour here. See, with the flour on top of both of them, this kind of makes it a little bit easier to do. Now, with the amount of dough that you have, you can choose if you want thick or if you want thin, right? it's pretty important that you consider what you want, because everybody's going to have an opinion about whether we're going to have and of course Chef Paul doesn't think about the underneath very often. So we're going to start this over again, not a big deal. Just say that Amy's going to have one hell of a mess to clean up, but she don't mind. Do you?
Nope.
Okay, so now we got that. So always make sure you have plenty of flour around. It always does help. And it doesn't have to look perfect. It really doesn't. It just has to look what you want your pizza to be. It's very important that you're happy with it because you're the one that's eating it. So you just take your time and you just roll it out. Now as you see here, I've got my pizza pan is circular, so you know I want to make sure that I'm getting nice circular type crust. Now Sarah was asking questions about pasta, and yes, believe it or not, your crust is the same thing we're using for the crust here. Is the same thing we would use for making pasta. It's a little different principle for, you know, how you actually, you know, have it out and stuff like that. So, while we have this, now the one thing that I didn't put out yet, and it's pretty important, is this pure olive oil. So, you want to put a little bit out here, because if you don't, you're going to run into a really big mess when you cut the pizza. It will stick. I promise you it will stick. Always, always, always load your pan with oil. I prefer using an olive oil, you know, it's a little better of a base. Makes things a whole lot easier to do. Now, what you can do is you can get some pre-cut cheese, make your dough a little bit bigger, and overfill this, and then wrap the corners with cheese in the middle. And that's what you would call a cheese crust pizza. So I'm going to try to transfer this in here now. Is this perfect? No. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, just going to try to push this out here, and then we're going to try to make, maybe it looks a little bit like pie crust on your actual crust, and that's fine. Again, it doesn't have to look perfect. But it shouldn't be hanging over, because if it does, it's going to get into a burner, and believe me, it's not going to be a pretty thing. So, how's that look for a crust?
Really good.
Sarah?
Good.
That looks good?
Yeah.
Alright, so for now, I'm going to let you go. We're going to stop for now. We're going to clean the table off. And then we're going to get ready to put it together and throw it in the oven. So, Amy, we'll see you guys in a bit. Welcome back. So, we've got the mess mostly cleaned up. Thank you, Amy. Here's our pizza crust. So this is barbecue chicken pizza. So we got from Sobeys, compliments honey garlic barbecue sauce. Now, before you pass judgment, one of the most important things you need to pay attention to is labels. If you go out and buy brand name barbecue sauce, sometimes the name brand actually has more sugar and crap in it than the no name. A lot of times the no name is actually better for you. It's not only cheaper, it's actually better. I love this. If you've never tried it, I really recommend you try it. It's a lot better than Heinz. It tastes better than Heinz, and it's usually cheaper. So, and unlike Heinz, they didn't exactly move any factories to Mexico. Sorry, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like Mexicans. I actually love them. They're very nice people. But when it comes to Canadians, I kind of like having jobs. And I don't appreciate when companies like, say, Bell, who ship things to other countries and lay us off, Heinz, who have perfectly good working factories here and get rid of them here. So I don't support Heinz. I'm not saying I support compliments because, like I said, I'm not being paid to endorse anybody. Nobody's ever gave me a dime for my food. So I'm not endorsing anybody. If somebody wants to, I'm open to discussion, but that's all it is. So we're just going to start pouring some barbecue sauce on here. I feel a good barbecue chicken pizza should have enough barbecue sauce. Not enough to, and where's my... Your barbecue chicken should have enough barbecue sauce on it. It's not a regular pizza that you have your marinara sauce on top. But it should have, you know, but it shouldn't also at the same time be so overbearing that it's just going to ruin the taste, and that's all you're tasting is barbecue sauce. But that's not a good thing either, right? So we're just going to pour it around here. If you feel you have too much, then you know what? I have an empty container right here. I can start pouring stuff back into there. So you can pour as much as you want on. Just clean what you don't want off. And if you figure this is kind of fine here, I'm going to take a little bit off though. But I mean, be a little careful because you don't want to waste this. So it'll still be good in the barbecue. You know what I mean? Like you should still have enough unless you're making multiple pieces at once. And you know, by all means, you can. You know, it's a pretty thick sauce, or thick crust. So I mean, sometimes you make a thicker crust. Sometimes you don't need to go out and have a second slice right away. You can save some for another day. But I got Sarah here. She'll probably have a piece. Amy probably have 4, and I'll have a half one. Amy once explained to me she was on a diet. So we're walking in the grocery store, and she started kicking the shelves and just catching whatever she can in the cart. And I'm like, you know, like, Amy, you said you're on a diet. And it's like, I am. I'm on a seafood diet. And it's like, Amy, this isn't the seafood section. This is the cookie aisle. Oh no, when I say seafood diet, I see food, I eat it. Amy's not that picky, by the way. And I tell you, anybody in the city that was looking for some, was actually looking for some liver, didn't get anything that day because she took every one of it, every little bit. Amy loves her liver.
Ugh.
So we're just going to take this chicken, and by the way, this is meat from a whole chicken. Like, we actually bought an actual whole chicken. And this should be, you know, cut down a little bit. You know, it shouldn't be too terribly thick. And don't worry, I mean, there's going to be more chicken than we're actually going to need. And the rest can be saved for sandwiches later. So it's not that big of a deal, it's no loss. So I mean, we're not going to throw this away. Amy will probably mix it in with our liver later. So there's our chicken, and I'm going to put another layer of onions on here. so that seems like enough onions. And you know what? If you don't like putting this much onions, you don't have to. We like onions. Sarah, what do you feel about onions? If you're worried about some boy or girl that you want to kiss, don't worry about it. You can brush your teeth later. I like it because it helps you stay healthy, it helps your immune system, it's really good for you. So now I'm going to put some mixed colored peppers on here. Everybody loves peppers. Cut up nice and thin. Nobody's ever accused me of making a cheap slim pizza. But I mean, honestly, you can, if you want to make this like a store and just you can just slim it down a little bit, you can. Amy and I like making a good veggie pizza with a little bit of chicken, barbecue sauce, and you can mix this up. I mean, you get the idea. Next time I make a pizza for you guys, I'll be making maybe a veggie pizza, just veggies, or maybe a pepperoni, but it'll be something we can use some marinara. So I'm just putting some tomato on here. It's just one tomato. That's all it is. That was probably 3 or 4 peppers. Cut down, I mean, we used half of the peppers, but just enough to have a little bit of color to it, right? And these aren't canned tomatoes, by the way. For something like a pizza, you want to actually have fresh tomatoes. Cut them up and, you know, and I like mushrooms. These are portobello, I think. Maybe the last one was portobello. Whatever. But we're just going to dice some nice little mushrooms over this. And what do you think, Sarah? What's this look?
Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks really yummy.
With my pizza, it's not exactly, you know, the most even thing in the world. I mean, I'll push it down a little bit. You know what I mean? But there'll be enough flavor on there that you should be able to enjoy it. So last part here, and at this point you guys should be preheating your oven to 400 degrees, which I haven't started yet, but I will in a minute. I'm not in a big rush here. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees, bake it for about 20 minutes. Now, this is important, and I really have to stress this enough. If you guys have to pay attention to this, this is one of the most important things to actually know when making pizza. And if you don't, you're going to have problems. I promise you, you're going to have a problem. And that being, watch your oven. I'm saying I'm putting mine on for 400 for 20 minutes. Now, I'm going to check it after 10 minutes. I'm going to check every minute or so. Because you know what, everybody's oven's going to be a little bit different. And by all means, it might be done at 15. Pay attention. When you know that it's done, then take it out and you're done. But watch your oven. Because if it's done in 15 minutes and you wait 20, it's going to burn. Simple as that. Preheat your oven. When your oven's fully preheated, put it in. But babysit. You have to. It's just like Amy in a candy store. If you don't babysit her, you're going to walk out with a $1,000 bill for candy that she hasn't even got out of the store with because she's eating when she's there. Trust me, been there, done that. So for now, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to preheat, stick that in the oven for full. I'm going to put it in for 20 minutes, but again, I'm going to be babysitting it. When I'm done, we'll be back. Welcome back, and finally we're done. If my lovely assistant Amy will take a quick look over here. This is our barbecue chicken pizza. Now, it's a little bit more expensive than I'm used to making, and the reason for this is simple. It's our wedding anniversary, and if you notice, I like making things for my wife. My wife loves barbecue chicken pizza. It's her favorite. So this is my anniversary gift to my wife. Didn't take that long, and if you think about it, it probably cost you about $15. If you're going to buy a pizza this size, it's probably going to cost you a little bit more than that. And you know what? It's probably not going to have the same ingredient or the same level of ingredients. There's a lot more on here. Maybe if you're making pizza for yourselves and you're trying to make it neat and tidy, you don't really need as much toppings on it. You can lower them down. I like quite a bit. My wife really loves it when there's a lot of veggies on it, so we make ours a little bit different than most. But if you come by and you look at that, it's got a nice texture to the barbecue sauce. The veggies are just absolutely right in there. The cheese are packed right in. Amy, what do you think?
It looks really
Sarah?
good.
In a few minutes, these ladies are gonna come by and they're gonna dig in. They're gonna
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
some pizza.
that's good.
So again, please help me out. I need some more followers. Follow me on Facebook. Like, subscribe, share. Tell your friends about this. Watch videos. I have lots of other videos, and I hope you may not necessarily use the same things that I do or do it the same way, but hopefully I've inspired you to try it. Hopefully I inspired you to at least get in the kitchen and try something new. This is my barbecue chicken. So thanks for coming by. Remember, thumbs up. Have a good night.